I thought it was a hard-fought weekend. I really did. I liked our game on both nights, except for Friday night. I thought we had a real good start. We were playing the game on our toes, got after it, and then we took. I didn't like our penalties. They're in the O zone, and they capitalized on two in about a 2-minute span, I think, and that set us back. But then the second period, I thought we took it over. I thought we outchanced them like 10-2 in the second period. We ended up tying it, and it was anybody's game in the third. And they got one, I think it was on a blown coverage play. But even in the second period, I think we had 2 or 3 really good looks where we could have extended the lead. So I thought it was anybody's game. I thought we were the better team 5-on-5. I thought we outchanced them. And the score is indicative. It was 3-2. They made a play. Got to give them credit. They found a way to win. And then the next night, another hard-fought battle. So special teams was obviously a difference maker in the first game. And in the second game, again, it was the special teams again. We had the upper hand. They didn't score on the power play, and we did. But I thought overall for the weekend, for us to come away with a win was awesome. And I think how you can kind of measure that is when they came to our building at the beginning of the year, they handily beat us 5-0, 5-1. I think in one of the games they got 4 power play goals. They were definitely the better team and carried the play. And I thought it was much different this past weekend. So that tells me we've grown a lot as a team and come so far from that time when last time we played Lake Superior. So happy for the guys. We found a way to get a win. I thought we deserved to win. I thought we had a chance to win both games. So overall, pretty happy.
Are you guys approaching this week off knowing just two more series left to kind of, again, show off, how much you guys have grown over the course of the year?
Again, it's about getting better, continue to get better. That's been our culture. Care about the pride of the program. I think our goal should be going into the weekend against St. Thomas is again, try to win a game, play the best we possibly can and win a game. And I think there's a carryover from that in terms of belief. We're a much better team in the second half. Let's continue to win. Let's continue to get better. And that's part of the process of a growing program.
Yeah, you have to week off. We'll let you off easy. No, nice to see you get one count.
Yeah. And again, it's good for everybody. You feel good about winning, and it gives guys belief. And the week off, it's just conditioning, and we do small game events to make it fun for them. And then, we'll go like 5 days skating, 4-day workouts, and then maintain our conditioning level. We got a lot of banged up bodies. We had 8 guys that weren't skating yesterday. So it was a hard fought series. I think we had 2 or 3 concussions. Guys are out, and guys are, their limbs are sore or whatever. So hopefully we get a couple of those guys back for the weekend against St. Thomas, who's playing really good right now. I think they're picked 1 or 2 in our league, and they're trying to move up the ladder to get home ice, just like Bowling Green was, just like Lake Superior was. So it's going to be another hard-fought battle, and it's our jobs as coaches to prepare them the right way. Say, hey, let's be the spoiler here. Let's play our best and see if we can get a win against a very good opponent.
Did want your thoughts. We're talking to Dominic Shine a little bit here, just about his journey from NMU, 10 years in the AHL to make his debut a couple weeks ago. Just your thoughts on another Wildcat, taking that journey and debuting at age 31.
Awesome story. Awesome story. A real feel-good story. He actually came down with his son to the GLI. We had him on the bench for a pregame skate. Got a puck and all that. Just an unbelievable number 1 human being. Real prideful of his time up here being a Wildcat. Loves Northern. And here's a guy, you don't see this very often, is when he left Northern Michigan, he signed a deal with Grand Rapids, and he was there for 9 years. Usually you see guys when they're in the minors, they're up and down, they're being traded and moved. And that tells me how much a coach really values what he brings to the table. He's hard-nosed. He gets after it. He can make plays. And he's not the biggest guy in the world. He has to do everything the hard way. And to see him do it for so long in the minors in Grand Rapids, and then the Red Wings, the big club, seeing the value of what he brings to the game, it's just awesome story. So happy for him and his family. He's super excited and happy, obviously, he's a Wildcat and loved his time and his experience up here. So just like I said, a real good feel-good story.
The next three,
Yeah.
the three teams ahead of you, but you're a different team than 3 weeks ago when you last played these two and Tech on the other end. So, just how do you feel the group right now and their mentality going into this stretch?
Yeah, I'd say the bad news is when we didn't only lose, we got smoked, and the good news is we were a lot worse than we are now. So I could go either way with it. When I watched the Wayne State game before the game, I watched last year's game on the Friday, and I actually had a weird confidence going, well, we were awful, and we were still in that for times, and we've gotten a lot better, so I felt pretty good going into it. Lake State, I had a similar feeling where I watched it, felt Lake State was really good, but I also didn't think we were very good. I do think we're better than we were. Saying that, it's hard to tell because we were so far out of that game by halftime. It's hard to go, well, yeah, we got a little bit better, so we'll be fine. And it'll be interesting. And, we're in a surprising spot, at least for me. And it's kind of exciting to be playing in relevant games again.
Just defensively against Wayne, just what'd you see on that end of the floor that probably gave you a lot of confidence versus when they were here and shot the lights out on you?
Yeah, we stopped the 3-pointers. I mean, that was the goal, and I know we talked about it last week. Were we going to change, and we made some adjustments to what we did the last time to really try to take away the threes, and I thought we did a great job of it. Early on, I think they had 9 points with like 5 minutes to go in the half or something. I mean, we came out and were smothering early, and then the adjustments we made, I think they adjusted to the adjustments, and it kind of leveled into a normal basketball game. But I do think we had a good plan early that worked early. So, hopefully we've tried more things this year than we have in the past. We're going to try some different things against Lake State. We're going to need to keep trying different things, I think, if we're going to, survive this 3-game stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how it all works out.
In your opinion, what does Lake State do best that really puts most teams in a bind?
Yeah, their shooting is absolutely incredible. I think they've shot over 40% in 14 of their 20 games. If they shoot over 40%, they haven't lost a game all season. So part of me, unfortunately, thinks if they make enough shots, we probably just lose. We need to get a little lucky and have them miss some shots. And I think, you take the level of shooting with this just ultra level of physicality. And I don't think any team that I've ever competed against has matched those two things so perfectly than this year's Lake State team is. They are on offense, this beautiful, skilled product. And then while they're doing that, they screen like, I won't even get into the legality of the screens, but I've never seen a team screen the way they screen in NBA kind of. In the NBA, they just, and that's them. And then defensively, they are mean and tough and nasty and really, really smart. So you combine really good skill, really good IQ, and a ton of toughness with great coaching. I mean, that's what you get with them. And they're probably the one team of the 4 of us right now that probably is frustrated that they have 3 losses. I think the other 3 teams are probably happy with where we're at versus how we've played because we've had some, close wins, or in our case, we've had some blowout losses. They've had all close losses or big wins, it seems like.
How balanced are they? I mean, you can't pick one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're super balanced, and balance can at times be because you don't have any great players. I mean, Edmondson could average 22 or 3 a game if he was on a different team where he was the only guy. Perkins could probably be 16 or 17 a game if you just force-fed him all game. Womack, I think, could be like a lot of the good point guards in our league that are more like 17 or 18, but they all give up their kind of individual stuff for the sake of the team, and Soper might be their best player right now. It's close, and I just don't know if any team has that mix. And I think it's pretty clear that just visually and how they've played so far, they've been the best team in the league. The beauty of basketball and the beauty of where we're at is they have 3 losses in the league, we have 4, and Tech has 3 and Ferris has 4. So none of that really matters, and we've hit that point of the year where I think we're all over trying to figure out if we're any good or bad or whatever else, and it's just find a way to win on Thursday at all costs for us. But I'm sure they have the same feeling. It's because last year I thought we were clearly the best team before some injuries, and 2 years ago we definitely, in my opinion, were by far the best team by the second half of the year. But Parkside had gotten in front of us early in the year, and we won the tournament, but we ended up losing the race by one game. And I think at some point it just doesn't matter. You just got to find ways to win, and the standings kind of are what they are.
What's the intensity level like with guys like Dylan Keel, who's been there, Privet, who has been there, Dudek, and obviously Parzik that have been there? What is their message to the rest of the team? Because you guys are so close, like you were 2 years ago. Then last year, obviously, they did win it.
Yeah, I think it's base hits. It's trying not to do anything you haven't done all year. It's obviously it's a very different feeling this year for a bunch of reasons. But I think you can fall back on that familiarity of not getting too wound up in those big moments and being able to stay calm. At the same time, last year's team could win a game by being better at the sport of basketball. This year's team has to win with just an absolute craze and an aggression and a toughness, and so we can't get cool at all. And I think one of the reasons you're seeing all these wild swings in the GLIAC is you get these teams. Grand Valley's on a 4-game winning streak. They come here. We're on a 2-game losing streak. We beat them by a lot. Then Grand Valley loses 2 games. Now they're going home, and now they get Lake State and Ferris, and they beat Ferris by a lot. Like it's almost like the losing's good for you. So I wish we could, maybe there's some like AI thing we could do where we pretended we just were coming off a 2-game losing streak. Because I think if we had that, we'd actually have a chance on Thursday. But we got to get that mindset of if we're happy about the 4-game winning streak, it's going to end real sad for us on Thursday night. We gotta go and meet a different level of aggression and anger that we haven't seen in a while.
Is Jackson Dudek just living on cloud 9 right now? I mean, I see people on social media, it's like it's Dudek's world. We're just living in it. I mean, it's been 16, 17, 18 points consistently since this win streak started.
Yeah, I'm living on cloud 9 having Jackson Dudek right now. So no, he's been phenomenal, and I mean the fun part with him is he's never gonna change who he is. He's just the same kind of happy, positive, goofy person every day. And he works harder than everybody else on our team. He always has, and it doesn't affect him the same way because he's just so unique and confident in who he is as a person. I think that's what Sam, Dylan, and Jackson all have in common. They're confident in themselves as people, and their identities in life isn't defined by basketball. And those guys, I think everyone talks about the guys that live in the gym, and we've had those, and those guys are great to have, but sometimes it's nice to have guys that also live in reality and their life isn't consumed by, a round orange ball. And we've been lucky where those have been some of our best players, and Jackson's the epitome of that. He's got a lot of interest, he's got a lot of hobbies, but once he's in the gym, he's going to work his butt off, and he puts in the work outside that he needs to.
I take it hasn't surprised you then just how efficient he's been picking his shots and getting after it on the glass too is a huge part of it too.
No, it doesn't. And I obviously I have a bunch of regrets with not playing him more earlier. The hardest part's the rotation. It's still hard. Way in the second half, I think it caught up with us a little bit because those 3 were gassed, and trying to rotate them is harder with them all starting. But him producing and being really productive, and it doesn't surprise me. Does the degree of it a little bit surprise me? Yeah, I mean, if I would have obviously known he was going to do this, we would have been playing him 30 minutes a lot earlier. But I saw it coming. We saw it in practice. He had yet to be able to put it on the floor. And sometimes, there's always you got to prove it in practice before you get a chance. Sometimes you need a chance to play enough to prove it on the floor. And he finally got enough playing time, I think, where his comfortability settled in. And he's not going to be, no one shoots 75% from the field and 60 from 3. We're not expecting him to keep doing that, but I do expect him to keep being really good and helping us win games.
You had a really good basketball game, close game against Ferris State down at Ferris. Last 3 minutes is when it was decided. What do you talk to the guys about and overcoming that this weekend against Ferris State and coming out with a W?
Yeah, I think we're going to put a lot of that off till Friday, just focusing on Lake State right now. But once we get to Friday, I mean, I think the message is we had a chance and we were in it, and we had a few silly turnovers down the stretch. Our big guys deserve a ton of credit, and obviously I just talked about how much I love those three. That was the one time all year they got their butt whooped pretty good by the Ferris big guys. We can't afford, I mean, that's the strength of our team is how good those three are. We can't afford the Ferris guys to score on us inside again, and we'll have to take care of the ball a little bit better. But I just, every Ferris game that I've ever played in, or coached, I guess I'm not doing a ton of playing, I just expect the ball with about 30 seconds to go to be floating around somewhere, and someone's going to shoot a shot, and that shot goes in, that team wins, and that shot doesn't go in, that team loses, because, minus one or two, I think every other game it feels like comes down to that last minute or two, regardless of how it starts or how it goes. It just seems like we're always destined to play a game like that with them.
It would be nice to be at home for both of these, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to give yourself a chance, and you're not going to get many better chances than, being one game out of it and playing the first place team and the other team you're one game out of it with on your home floor. And, they got to also go play a really good opponent over at Tech. So the situation is what you want. And at this point of the year, to me, we're ahead of where at times it felt like we were going to end up. And now it's time to see if we can pull it off. And if we can do it, I'm going to be elated. If we can't, I'm happy we got back to this spot. But in some ways, it is as simple as the one game at a time thing now feels so real. It's like, I don't know. I can't fathom. Last year, going into the year, I thought we'd win the conference championship. The year before, I was devastated we didn't. I thought we were the best team. Last year, I thought we were clearly, before injuries, by far the best team. This year, I have not felt like we're the best team, but I don't care. I just want to win on Thursday, and then at the end of it, whatever standings say is reality, and I think we have a chance at that. We're at home, we're playing our best, and the chance is really all anyone can ask for out of a season, and we're up through 22 games. We're in a great spot to make the tournament, a chance to win the league. 20 wins for the third time in a row is a possibility. All those things to me were kind of best case scenario goals, and if we have a great 3 weeks here, we'll accomplish almost every goal we could ask for this season.
2 big road wins this weekend for your basketball team, done very different ways. Physicality down at Saginaw Valley, then coming out and going back and forth with Wayne State. I guess take us through the 2 games in your eyes and how close each game was.
Yeah, I mean, Saginaw was a battle, and I think both of them were very physical games on the road in the GLIAC, not easy to do. And after they got us up here, I know our team was ready, but it was not going to be easy. And I think it took every player who stepped on the floor to get things done and to contribute in every way that they could. JC obviously had a great showing against Saginaw and kept it going against Wayne State, but we had 4 people in double figures again at Wayne State too, so it literally has been a little bit of everybody, which has been really nice.
I finished covering the swimming around 2:30. I get into the car heading toward Tech. His golden tones in the background. I don't know how he was able to keep it together down the stretch in the last 3 minutes. How were you able to keep it together in the last 3 minutes? Because it was a little sketchy.
I was trying to keep our team calm is what I was trying to do. While inside it was going nuts with my body. But at the same time, I mean, that's what makes basketball fun. You never know what could happen down the stretch. You got to make some big defensive plays, which our team did. They also hit a couple shots. So then I was like, oh boy, here, what's going to happen? But we came away with making some really big plays and just being consistent. And again, it was a little bit of everybody. Some freshmen stepped in and made some big shots down the stretch too. I mean, it literally takes our whole crew to kind of get that win.
So I heard him say Sydney twice and then a couple other things, and I saw up 6 tie. Oops.
Yep. Oh yeah, your heart's going and your mind's like, okay, where do we need to go again? And, you know, they had a couple plays at the end too. They had wide open shot. Sarah fell down. I was like, oh no. But again, it's the fun part of basketball, and it's winning these games in February that's going to lead hopefully to some good things coming in March. And it's not, again, about one or two people. It's literally about a whole crew of them that are contributing in multiple ways, whether it's offensively, defensively, assists, getting stops, rebounds. I mean, it literally goes through everything. And then obviously you got to put up points. And we had a bunch of people who contributed in that aspect today.
And without CJ down the stretch too.
And without CJ that whole game, and that was shocking news. And yeah, it people stepped up though. Again, our seniors have been leading us and really taking in and doing what they needed to do to get the win.
And now there's this week.
2 more big games. Yeah, the GLIAC doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't stop, and we're excited. Lake State obviously coming in on Thursday. We had a really good defensive game there for sure, and you know though that they're coming still. You know they're not backing down, so we gotta get our defense up to par again of where we did and what we did there. And then yeah, we got Ferris then on Saturday, and it's gonna be another nail biter. It's gonna be a battle for the second. You know that's what it is, and. Hopefully we're ready and hopefully we're good to go. Senior day, pink day. I mean, this weekend we got a lot of stuff going on, and it's a fun week to celebrate our seniors, but also to hopefully get 2 more home wins.
How do you sort of temper that, knowing it's your home finale this weekend and 2 more games that you need?
Yeah, I mean, it's the emotional roller coaster. That's what sports is all about, right? And the more that you can stay steady with it and consistent with it is kind of what we've been preaching out since January 1st is just do your thing. You come in, you put in the work, you put in the time. So then it makes the game times easier. You know, the emotions are going to go crazy. They always do. It's senior day. And you love your seniors and you want to make sure that they have the best day possible. But it's not going to be easy. Thursday is not going to be easy. It's going to be 2 games that you got to go out there and you got to earn just like we had any other game.
Thinking back to the Saginaw game, down the stretch, big shot from Sarah, big shot from Sydney in the corner.
Yeah.
Just what do you make of the way it can be anyone making the big shot and it's not, you're just leaning on JC or doing something like that you can spread it around and they don't know where you're going down the stretch?
Well, I think that's the best part of it. I think that's what makes our team our team is when your name's called, you're ready to go. And when you get an opportunity on the court, you're going hard. Sydney had a great weekend for us, and she didn't have a ton of minutes, but she got some valuable time when she was on the court and has been doing that kind of consistently throughout the year. And the hard part is we have so many players, it's hard to get everybody in. And I tell them, when you get your name called, just be ready to go. And that's what they've been doing. Whether it's Sarah, whether it's JC, whether, you know, you can go through the whole line. I mean, CJ hit some big shots too against Saginaw. It literally is kind of everyone is stepping up for their moment and getting the job done. And that's really what you need, especially in February, but especially heading into March.
At the same time, JC's obviously been so consistent.
Yep.
Just how proud does it make you to see her just clearly be one of the best players in the conference this year?
She can shoot lights out, and it's fun to watch. And teams are keying in on her a little bit, and we have to run some different things for her. But she's buying into the team too. When she's getting double teamed, she's finding the open person, making the right reads. People are setting up screens for her, and she's setting up screens and reading the defense. So it's everybody, again, working together to try and get people open, but then making the right play out of it. And it's been really fun to see our team kind of develop. Obviously, she was out for a little bit in January, and that kind of, we changed things a little bit there, and now we got to change things back. But everybody's been willing to adapt and understand that it's for the team, it's for the whole, it's not just for 1 or 2 people.
Talk about the maturation of Pitsletsky and with White House, because they've been getting the majority of the play time, nothing against Schrader or Bates or anything like that. But I mean, you have a player like White House who hits that big shot, not afraid to shoot it. Pitsletsky only had 3 minutes against Saginaw, and she hit a big 3.
Yep.
So how have you seen their game change from October till now and slowing things down and reading the defense?
They are doing a great job, and they're just freshmen, so they're riding the waves, and it goes up sometimes and it goes down sometimes. But again, they're getting in and they're doing what they need to do at whatever time we need them to do it. I mean, they both went in at the end of the Wayne State game. I mean, Addie's in there to shoot her free throws because she could knock them down, and she might not have played a whole lot that game too, but they both are ready. And Sid is, I mean, she's just a winner at heart. Her high school team was very, very successful. And when she came in here, that was one of the reasons why, is that they're both very competitive. Everything they do, whether they're sitting on the bus playing cards or whatever they're doing, it's a competition. And I think that really carries over to the court, and that's helping everybody. It pushes everybody, which I think is a really good thing as well. Just being tough mentally, but also being able to get things done on the court.
I see you're like, and they'll figure out what else she'll take it to the hole at any time, and I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah, I like it too. When we can put up points, that's a good day.
All right, let's talk about the team. You know, what's new, what's different, and how'd the off season go?
Off season was a lot of fun. We have a lot of youth this year, so usually that means the off season's about just kind of wrapping everybody into the same system, getting everyone used to each other. And also it usually means if you have a lot of young people that it's a lot of fun, just because every day at practice is just a lot of fast athletic bodies flying around and lots of joy just because they're all excited to play the college game. We have 10 freshmen, 10 sophomores, so just an army of underclassmen on a roster of 30. So this year's going to be different than it's been before. But I do think this is the deepest we've ever been. When you get better and better as a program, you're able to bring in better and better recruits. And this is kind of that coming to fruition this year. We have a lot of talent in our freshman class. But we also have the ability to not have to lean on them this year like we have had to in the past. So they get to kind of ease in a little bit more than we've been able to do in the past. But we're going to have the ability to run with anyone. It's just a matter of maturity and how quickly we figure out how to handle the pressure of seniors punching you every day. So, yeah.
Without many this time around, just how different does your attack look without a player like that?
You know, it looks really different. It's been 5 years of many. I've had many every year that I've been here, and when you have a player like that, your offense runs through them. I mean, she was one of the top scorers in all of Division II lacrosse last year. Our next closest scorer, who is a returning player, Josie Lacrosse, our freshman of the year, scored less than half as many goals as many did last year. So we have this great scoring hole we need to fill, but we can't fill it with one person. That's just not the way this team can play. We're small and fast and athletic and smart, but we don't have just a powerhouse that's going to bully your way to goal, and we have to change the way we play because of that. And I do think that could mean lower scoring games this year, and it is going to mean we're going to have to put some pressure on some freshmen to play right away, have some maturity, and also like our sophomores that are returning that played a lot last year, they've got big shoes to fill, they got to play a lot, and we're bringing Maddie Bass back to the midfield. She was our third leading scorer her sophomore year, our second leading scorer freshman year. We need all the firepower we can get on offense this year because it's not going to look the same.
You talk about being youthful and also second now in the rankings. So how do you mix those two with not adding too much pressure? You still got to find a way to score goals, but at the same time still perform.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because even though we are so youthful, we have our entire defense returning. And so we have these senior defenders that have been through all of these different things. They're time tested. They're analytical kids that like are really careful with things, are really upholding the standards of what we want our team to be. And those athletes are used to winning, and they're used to like working hard, being gritty every day, and know what it takes to make a team grow the way that we have. So we're really hoping that our defense and our senior group is able to lead this army of children forward, and so that we can see some success, especially late season. I think that's with young teams kind of when you see the most success is when everybody starts getting used to the flow of season and gets the nerves start to die down because you're used to it, get used to the competitive and physicality of the college game. Not that they're not being just punched every day by our senior defenders, but it's a little bit different when it's not your teammates. So I think there's pressure in that those seniors want to end in the same place that last year they were able to achieve, or even a little bit better. And that's going to be really hard without the scoring that we had last year. So they want to see success out of our young group. And I think they're going to, in a healthy, competitive way, drive those young offensive players.
So that means you have to maybe put a little more pressure on your goaltender to keep things
Yeah.
even keeled a little bit.
Yeah, so we were really strong last year when we were able to hold teams under double digits. And I think that's going to be what we're going to have to do consistently this year. If we want to win games, we need to hold teams to 9 and under. We held up our best games last year when we held teams to 6 or under. Those were our best wins against different teams. Those are the games our defense played the best. In a perfect world, your goalie's never facing an uncontested shot, so you're making their job a little bit easier. But yeah, there is a lot of pressure on the defense and the goalie this year to make short defensive reps, try to get turnovers right away so that your offense can take as much time as they need and the whole shot clock to try to get goals. We need to spend less time on defense than we did last year because we had we had the reverse of that last year. Really long defensive reps, really short attacking reps. So we gotta do a little change there.
I imagine first weekend of the season, you gotta worry more about yourselves than the opponents. But what are you hoping to see Friday and Sunday that will show you this team ready to compete?
Yeah, so our home opener this year is against a in-region competitor, someone that's going to be a barrier to us making the NCAA tournament, someone that's won the GMAC, their conference, the last, I think, 3 years in a row. So Walsh is a strong team. It's hard to start out with a team that is that good and plays in such a different way than our conference does. The GMAC is very pass first, and we are very physical first in the GLIAC. It's just kind of the way things shake out that way. And despite that, mid-season, we'd be able to want to be making adjustments for this team. But you're right, like early season, it's just about, can we play our own game? Can we dictate pace? And speed them up to the pace that we want to play. We want to try to play really fast on defense and then take these long offensive reps. So it's all about this weekend if we can get our underclassmen to calm down when they have the ball in the attacking end.
Those 18 athletes. That's
18
a lot.
athletes. We recognized 10 women and 8 men. Such a big group and such a monumental group, and they're going to leave a mark for sure. And if you think about, we're just over 60 athletes. It's almost a third of the team is graduating, or moving on. But, it was a great recognition and super fun weekend. It was good to see Lake State. They're just starting their program, so kind of meeting their coach face-to-face and talking to him, that was good. Set a couple four pool records, so yeah, they're getting ready to go. I'm excited to leave next week for conference. Yeah, should be good.
Yeah. What do you gather about the entire team being ready for competing in conference now after this weekend?
Yeah, I think that they're ready. I probably have never felt this good like going in because we're in this moment with this taper moment where they're some of them don't feel good and some of them feel okay and they're just starting to all come around and really resting. We've been, not having some mornings, letting them sleep more because that's really important. And I just think they're all on a really good path. They're trusting the process, and I think that's what they have to do. They have to go in confident. Like, that's the biggest key. Yeah, it looks really good.
Have everybody kind of slotted into what they're going to do next week?
Yes, the entries are due at 5 p.m. So we have a good plan. If we want to make any changes, this is the moment. But they look pretty good. The nice thing about swimming is we're able to actually enter them in 5 events, but they can only swim 4 individual races. So we can kind of look and see how they feel and maybe scratch one when we get down there. So some people we do enter in 5 and just kind of see where things lie and maybe look and see what other teams are swimming, try to guess some what other people are going to do and where our best shots are. But I think a lot of it too is what they feel good about. Again, like they have to believe that this is what they're going to be. If they put the confidence behind that, that's going to be their event. So really trust them.
Nobody experiments at this point.
No, there's not. Hopefully we're done with that. That happened in the fall. Hopefully we're done with all that. So yeah, for sure.
I want to ask about relay teams though.
Yeah.
And how you see those
Oh.
develop over the course of the season.
Yeah, I think we've just after the weekend might make some changes. So one of the things going into conference that we're really looking at, so the women have qualified for nationals in 2 relays, our medley relays, so they're a solid in, but our freestyle relays haven't made it yet. So I think going into conference, that's going to be how can we do that? How can we get there? And especially like maybe that 2 free and 4 free relay, looking at. And the men's side, they're kind of a little bit of the opposite. They've qualified for 3 relays, and but we're really looking at trying to qualify in the last 2 because there's 5 total relays. So we'll be trying to get that 400 medley relay for them, and I'm kind of really excited about the men's 800 free relay because that could be really good. I think that we have the potential to get that qualifying time, and that's also a relay that maybe you go to nationals and there might be 18 teams that swim it and there's 16 teams that score, so that could be a way to get some extra points. And especially at nationals, like every point counts. Like you can have 1 point difference between 4 different places. That could be 12th to 15th or something like that. So trying to get that 5th relay qualified, or that 4th and 5th, that's going to be a good goal going into national or going into conference. So yeah, to try to get there.
I keep seeing first places and things, so this must be going reasonably well.
Yeah. Yeah, the WCW was a great, it's a smaller meet that we started it during COVID with just Wayne State and Saginaw Valley. So it's a competitive meet between the 3 teams, and definitely had some great performances. I mean, we had 24 PRs, we had 21 podium finishes, 8 changes on the top 10 list. So if you looked at on paper ahead of time, we actually should not have won the meet, but our kids competed well and pulled it out, and super exciting. It's a fun meet because it's, we score it between the 3 teams, and so this is our 5th year, and we have a belt, the WCW belt that we pass. So we got to take, we won it last year, so we had the belt and brought it down, but we got to bring it back home. So exciting meet.
Discount, double check.
Yeah.
I mean, it just having a smaller meet like that, just what does that do for the team when
Is it,
other
is it
points of
easier to bond that way
season?
too?
It really is. I mean, that's where I mean, I feel like we see the team really come together, at that meet. And then I think afterwards, between the teams, we do a dinner with all the 3 teams together, and we have the kids, spread out and sit with the other teams. And then we do something different every year, but this year they all made keychains with a word that was kind of like a inspiring or positive, and then they exchange keychains and let each other know why they picked that word. So it's really it's just a great atmosphere. But yeah, it definitely brings our team together, I think, during that meet. And it's so small and it goes so fast that everybody's out there. You can't really leave because it's all just bang, bang, bang. And so supporting each other, and that's our big thing, is we really get to tell the athletes to really support each other in each event, and they really do. So, and I think that is a big part of why we won, is our athletes were just out there just screaming and yelling, and we pulled out some wins that it didn't look like we would have, but we did. The kids stepped up and definitely made a difference.
It looked like your success pretty balanced across events. Is that something that you preach and always want to see, that you're not just dominating one event, that you're spreading it around and everything across the team?
Yeah, and that is, for some years now, we've been trying to really build so that we're not just so heavy on distance or sprints or whatever, and really try to across the board. And now our throwers, we in the past we haven't had, our throwers weren't as good, but now they're scoring points. We have pole vaulters that are scoring points. A big, in the past we didn't even have pole vaulters, and now we do, and brought them up. And yeah, so I think we're one of the most balanced teams of the conference. So that definitely in a meet like this especially makes a difference.
What's next? You gotta reach out?
No, back on the road, heading to Mankato. Smaller meet, but I mean a smaller group we're bringing. It's a pretty competitive meet, so they actually have 4 of the top 10 hurdlers in the country. So our hurdle, we have a good hurdle crew, so they'll get a chance to go against some of the top hurdlers in the country. And then just across the board, it's a pretty competitive meet. Some teams come from California because it's easier to fly into Minneapolis, so they come for that meet. And so the fields won't be huge, but they'll be very competitive. So smaller group down there, and then back, and then it's just 2 weeks until the conference championships. Yeah, it's coming up close.